Hey everybody, it's Jon Foss. Very excited to be talking to the one and only Christopher Mintz-Plasse. We're talking about Blark and Son, Season 2, premieres Saturday, January 30th on all Comedy Central digital and social platforms. Christopher, I hope that everybody has heard of the show because it's pretty awesome and very unique. But for the people who haven't, tell us what they're going to see.
Yeah, so it's a pretty insane, wacky puppet show.
Tell you what, let's call it Even Steven and never talk of this again.
You got it, Dad. Hey, have you seen my collectible action figures?
We agreed to never talk of this again.
It's been a passion project for me and some of my close friends, actually, for I'd say 5 years now. One of my best friends, Ben Bayouth, who's a special effects artist who is now working on The Masked Singer. He's making all the costumes for The Masked Singer. Incredibly talented man. He had an idea for a minute-long Instagram TV show about 5 or 6 years ago about an overly manly father and a extremely nerdy son who just don't really see eye to eye and they just butt heads. So about 5 years ago, he made these really creepy silicone puppets. He asked me if I would do the voice. He did the voice of the father, and we made it. It was just 3 friends, me, him, and our buddy Adam Aseraf, kind of in a room, joking around, messing around, like maybe for $10,000, super cheap. And we put it on Instagram, and people really liked it. And we sold it to Verizon Go 90, and then we started working with Comedy Central, and they were really into it. So we got lucky, and we're making season 2 for YouTube, and hopefully it grows and gets a little bigger than that.
Are you on set while they're shooting this? Do you have any involvement with that, or do you just do the voice? What's your involvement?
Back before COVID times, I stopped by set for sure, but during the situation we got going right now, I would go do my thing in the audio booth, and then they would safely have maybe 4 or 5 people on set testing every day and doing all that.
And you're the voice of the son. Number 1, how did you come up with the voice? And number 2, do you do any other voices in the show?
I don't. I do not do any of the other voices. I remember sitting there. I've done a lot of animation work in the past, and I tend to just kind of use my regular voice. But when I took the meeting with Ben and Adam, Ben had a very insane voice for Blark, which was really loud. It's almost like he's starting at screaming, which really works for the show. So I felt like, okay, I gotta kind of create something. And we sat there for, I'd say, 10, 15 minutes. And I ended up just creating this yodeling kind of, hello, what do you mean? Get out of my room. I just had to always knock my register up, I'd say 10.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, I am shot. I got no voice, but it's worth it.
Season 2, you guys have some really A-list celebrities. I mean, how did you guys pull this off? You said you guys just started this as a passion project. Now you have these huge names coming into the show. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, well, we got Donald Faison, Jim Rash, Deborah Baker Jr., Jane Lynch is in the new season. I know back when we did season 1, I know Donald Faison is a huge fan of special effects, and I think he's actually taking it on as a hobby. So he hopped on board, and Jim Rash saw what we were shooting and was a fan. He liked what was going on, so he hopped on board, and then we kind of reached out to Jane Lynch, just sent her some clips and what was going on, and she also thought it was insanely wacky and cool and just wanted to be a part of it. We're very lucky.
When you're recording your voice, do you see what's happening on screen? Do they show you the dailies or the video of what's going with your voice, or do you just have the script?
No, it's actually the other way around, where me and Ben, the voice of Blark, will get in the room and we'll riff and create on the spot, and then they will puppeteer to our voice. So nothing is shot until our job is done and edited.
So these are puppets. It definitely has a unique look on screen. How do they control the puppets?
Yeah, they're silicone puppets that Ben made. It's handheld. It's there's a lot of stuff going on in there. I know it's very specific with the eyes and the hands and the mouth, but it's pretty basic, just kind of handheld, 2 hands inside the puppet deal.
And this is obviously not your first time doing voiceover work. You've done How to Train a Dragon and Trolls. How did you go from being on camera to all of a sudden doing all of these voiceover jobs?
I've been very lucky. I remember way back in the day after I made Superbad, Jeffrey Katzenberg came up to me he called for a meeting and wanted me to be a part of How to Train Your Dragon. And ever since then, it was Dragons 1, 2, 3, the TV show. I did Trolls, I did Paranorman. I was very lucky. So in between movies and TV, I would kind of just go off and do these animated roles.
And speaking of Superbad, that's one of those movies that is going to live for generations to come. I think it's on Netflix right now, so I'm sure there's a whole new generation of people discovering it. What was that like for you at that time in your life? What was it like going from a normal, everyday person to all of a sudden everybody in the world knows your face?
It was surreal. I mean, it was very intense, if I can be honest with you. I was 18 when the movie came out, so I'm not a fully developed human being at the time even. So it was very intense for one day. Nobody knows who you are. And then the next day, literally the next day after it came out, I went into the Habit, which is a burger joint down here in LA. And like people screamed at me from across the hall, McLovin, and chased me down, which was very alarming at age 18.
Yeah.
And very surreal and kind of cool. I probably felt like I was the Beatles or something back then, but it was life-changing, man, for sure.
I saw one interview where you said, and I think you were probably joking, but hey, this could definitely happen. You said you wanted to do a sequel when you were like 45, so we still have some time. But in all seriousness, is there any chance of a sequel happening? And if so, what would it be about?
There's no talks about that. I know Seth has shut that idea down a handful of times. I think they just kind of want to leave it untouched, which I completely understand.
When you were shooting it, did you know that it was going to be as successful as it was, that it was going to be such a great movie?
No, I mean, I think you knew it was going to be good, because we're having so much fun on set, a lot of laughter, a lot of cracking each other up, but you can't really know, especially me. It was my first movie. I was 17.
Yeah.
I went and shot it. And then after it was done, I went right back to high school. So for me, I probably felt like it was going to come out and make, $5, and then I would just be doing my own thing.
Yep.
But yeah, you can't really guess that thing. We just made a fun movie and people seem to connect to it.
Totally. Well, Christopher, thanks so much. Congrats on everything, all your success. This show is really cool. Twin Cities, check it out. Blark and Son, Season 2. It's available January 30th on all Comedy Central digital and social platforms. Thanks, Christopher.
Yeah, thanks for having me.